Everybody, hi. As you heard, I'm Jack Joy. And this talk is really for anyone who's ever kind of looked at cybersecurity job postings and thought, yeah, but, do I really belong here? I'm going to walk through what it actually looks like to pivot into this field. Not the polished kind of LinkedIn version, but more so the real stuff, the missteps, the mindset shifts, the memes, and why that messy journey just might be your biggest advantage. This time about last year, I was managing a restaurant bar where things like crisis management, fraud detection, safety protocols, multitasking, team leadership, all those things were really just part of my daily and nightly routine. Now, I'm in AI sales. I'm helping organizations understand and integrate AI-based security tools. And while it might seem like a big leap, to me, it really just feels like the same fire, but kind of a different bucket of water. What changed through all this wasn't so much my skill set. It was more so the lens at which I saw it through. I thought my post-bootcamp learning would be smooth and quick. I'd land a SecOps, analyst, GRC role. I'd start building dashboards, doing the cool stuff like investigating incidents, hacking. But that's not what happened. Instead, the door that opened for me was in sales. It's not what I dreamed of, but it's exactly what I needed. Because sometimes the job you start in is just the education that you didn't know you needed. Making a career change in your 30s or 40s is hard. It's not just technical skilling. It's really a mental battle. You go from being the person that people rely on, people lean on, people ask, for guidance or help, to really the one asking questions like, wait a second, what does ER mean again? But one of the hardest things I had to battle with was imposter syndrome. When internal voice just tells you you're faking it. You're not technical enough. You're not smart enough. And that no matter what you do, you'll never catch up. It's sneaky. It's convincing. And it is loud. It is very, very loud. But it's wrong. I applied to probably over 100 roles in the beginning. SecOps, analyst, help desk, GRC, anything entry level. And most days I'd get one or two of those mails up. I'll get. Thanks, but no thanks. In my day, I remember I in my inbox a literal full page of rejections. One right after the other. Just there was nothing in between, just rejections. And each one felt like a little knife twisting in my back, telling me, maybe you're really just not cut out for this. It was the first moment in my journey that I really felt like giving up. Then I realized something. Those rejections weren't about me or about timing and fit. And the fact I was asking led into an industry that doesn't always know how to evaluate talent. It didn't mean that I didn't belong. It just meant I needed a different strategy. Right after the rejections comes the overcompensation phase. You start stacking certs, trying to stay calm, grabbing every CompTIA cert you can find, rewriting your resume every other weekend, silently praying the next cover letter is going to be the one that breaks through. And still, you're sitting in your chair like that little cartoon dog, thinking, everything is fine. This is fine. When the offer came for a sales role at AI Solutions, I hesitated. It wasn't what I trained for. In fact, sales was something that I had purposely stayed at a distance from, not because of the challenge. I had done sales in my past. I am great at sales, but it just simply was not the journey that I wanted to take. But then I did realize It was in the industry. It was a foothold. I'm here. And honestly, it has turned out to be a gold mine of learning. Now, I did accept a job with some big strategic plan. I said yes because I was tired of waiting for perfect. I was tired of hearing no, and I was tired of applying and getting nothing back. And I figured if I can't walk through the front door, I'll find a dang window or a side door. And I remember thinking, if I squint really, really hard, it might be cybersecurity. But as it turns out, it was. Just not in the way that I expected. I spend days talking with CISOs, CTOs, IT directors, security analysts every day. Well, usually every day. It is sales, so there are a lot of cold calls. Lots of cold calls. So I don't always get through. But when I do, I get to hear what's frustrating now, outside of sales calls, where their gaps are, and what really keeps them up at night. And that imposter syndrome, it's still there. But I listen, I realize, and I get it. The language that was so foreign to me before is becoming familiar. The problems are real, and the impact is huge. I now have evidence that I'm growing, that I belong, and that I bring value. There was one sales call in the beginning that I really won't forget, not because it led to any kind of a deal, but really because it didn't lead. CTO kind of opened up about some of their struggles integrating one of their new AI programs into their systems. And I stopped pitching and just kind of asked them, what's the hardest part for you about fixing all of that? We ended up having a nice, long, kind of deep, honest conversation, not about the product, but about the pressure. And in that moment, I realized this is cybersecurity, listening, understanding, and solving real pain points. That's what I want to be a part of. That's why I did this journey. I want to tell you about a night in hospitality that still sticks to me. It's a night like many I've had, not because of the chaos. It's really because that night showed me I've been preparing for cybersecurity long before I even knew what it was. It was a weekend, like a Friday or Saturday night. We were down a few servers. Our POS system, of course, crashed mid-service, and we had a large party kind of walk in without a reservation. At the same time, I had to send a bartender home for drinking on the job, which is risk management. And all this was right in the middle of our rush. So I was running point. I was coordinating, who's covering what, triaging guest complaints, making judgment calls on the fly. And that night, I was performing live incident response. I was prioritizing. I was communicating under pressure, communicating in my head, managing people's emotions, and realistically just protecting the integrity of our operation. I didn't have SEAM. I had a sticky note, a Sharpie, and a radio. But the muscle was still the same. And now, when I'm in high-stakes security conversations, I don't freeze up because I've handled pressure before. I've lived in it. I thrive in that pressure. And those skills from hospitality, they will show up everywhere in how I build rapport, and how I read a room, even virtually, and how I stay calm when a deal or a program goes sideways. Those aren't soft skills. Those are cybersecurity skills, just in plain clothes. It hasn't really been a clean break from my past life. It's been more so a reflex. And that's something I want other career changers to see. Your past isn't baggage. It's your foundation. One thing I've learned is you have to find your people. Ones who did it. Ones who wear their love for cybersecurity on their sleeve. Sometimes literally. And one of the biggest reasons I didn't give up was simply cyber. That community gave me the exact thing I didn't know I was missing. Support, perspective, and visibility into how many others were walking a similar road. It gave me validation for how I felt. When you're on your own, rejection just feels like a wall that you can't keep up. In a community, Rejection just feels like a speed bump. There are people here from every background. We have college students, military vets, government analysts, PhD, people like me, people from all walks of life, and we all learn from one another. We're all growing in some way, and we all have a perspective that the others don't. They made me feel like I wasn't broken, but I was building right beside them. And in that community, imposter syndrome didn't disappear. It stopped feeling like the loudest voice in the room. Let's be honest. When you're first starting out, half of your job is secretly Googling acronyms mid-meeting and hoping your face doesn't really give it away. But here's the thing. That curiosity, that willingness to admit what you don't know and then go figure it out, that's the beginning of how you build real credibility. There was a meeting early on where someone was talking, throwing out acronyms left and right, like SEAM, SOAR, APT, CSP, Generative AI, and so forth. I nodded like I understood, but I wrote down every single thing that I didn't. And I spent 30, 40 minutes afterwards just decoding it, Googling, reading, and learning. It was really like trying to watch a foreign film with no subtitles. Well, I guess for me these days, it's like watching any TV without subtitles, right? But every time I did that, I learned. And slowly, I started to evolve. For whatever role you're in, use it, milk it, turn it into a case study. Ask questions, listen actively, and write down what you're learning. Every conversation I have is a crash course in cyber challenges, identity access management, data governance, ransomware prevention, and so forth. Start sharing what you learn. Not in a look at me kind of way, but more so in a, hey, here's something I found interesting today kind of way. Because when you do that, other people are interested in it as well. And that sparks conversation. When I did that online on LinkedIn or other forums, it led to messages, introductions, new connections, and conversations I didn't think I was going to get to have. People don't really care that your title is an analyst. What we do care about is that you're engaged, you're curious, and you're actually paying attention. That's how you fight imposter syndrome. You can show up, you show your work, stay humble, and you realize you're not alone in this. Take a second. If you're pivoting to cyber right now, ask yourself this question. What are you bringing that no one else can? It could be your background, your grit, your bilingual ability, your leadership, but I promise you, it's something. Most people just really haven't figured out how to explain it yet. Here's the truth. Imposter syndrome is just in your head. It's everywhere. A recent survey showed that 70% of professionals experience these feelings at some point, and it's even more common in fast-evolving tech fields like cybersecurity. In one study, over half of software engineers self-identify with moderate to intense levels of imposter feelings. So if you're feeling like a fraud, statistically, you're more the norm, not the exception. Imposter syndrome can sneak up on you when you're high achieving, under pressure, or constantly shifting roles like career changers just entering cybersecurity. There are a few science-backed strategies that they say help put that voice in the backseat. Learn that behavior, not your identity. A behavioral coach kind of suggests reframing it, imposter syndrome as impostering. That way it's something that you do, it's not who you are, and that frees you to shift it. You want to build, support, and normalize your experience. Sharing your doubt with a trusted mentor, colleague, or peer group reduces its power dramatically. That's why Simply Cyber worked for me. You want to keep a wins journal. Write down your wins, no matter how small, and revisit them with self-doubt cycle. Celebrate progress, not perfection. You want to focus on the facts, not the feelings. Don't compare your early steps to someone's middle. It only fuels that imposter syndrome. We're all in this together. They can help you as much as you can help them. And then you want to set realistic milestones. Break your journey into achievable steps. Those small wins will begin to outweigh that doubt. So through my own experience, here's what I've learned. My outsider perspective, it's an asset. My crisis management experience, it's transferable. And no one knows everything. Even the experts, it's questioned. Imposter syndrome feeds on isolation and silence, but it weakens every time you raise your hand, you share your story, or make a new connection. Track your progress, celebrate the small wins, and don't let perfectionism rob you of momentum. Remember a couple things here. The job you start with isn't your final destination. You need to use what you have from where you've been and where you are right now. Always make sure to surround yourself with people who will lift you up, who will help you learn. And imposter syndrome is common, but it doesn't have to be the narrator of your story. For career changers, the door may not look where you expected, but guess what? It's still a door. If you walk through it with curiosity and humility, you'll realize you brought more with you than you thought. I want to thank you all so much for letting me share my story today. I hope that it reminded you or someone that you know that there's more than one way to break into the field and more than one kind of background that belongs here. Don't remember that it's a slogan. I mean, if someone like me who's Googling acronyms at lunch and juggling part-time jobs and rewriting their resume for the 40th time can land a foothold in this industry, then there's space here for all of us. And if you're looking for a few tactical things to walk away with, here's some advice I can give. Value your flexibility. Being flexible helps you adapt and thrive, making it more valuable than striving for perfectionism. You want to learn from every role. Each job, regardless of title or field, teaches important lessons that will shape your career journey. Leverage your past experience. Your previous experiences are strengths. Use them to seize new opportunities and succeed in future roles. And lastly, build your support systems. Build your support systems. Can't say that enough. Relying on and nurturing a support network is crucial for not only professional, but personal success. And if all else fails, just remember, we're all imposters. Until we're not, then we get to be senior imposters. Thanks again, guys, for your time and attention. I really, really appreciate it. It's been such a journey and an honor to be here and speak with so many advanced, educated, smart people. I really do appreciate you guys. And if you want to connect, you can check out that QR code. It's got my LinkedIn, email, but I'd love to connect and grow together. So thank you all. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack. I greatly appreciate it. I do like the line, like we're all imposter syndrome until we're just colossal imposter syndrome imposters. So yeah, it's even that, I've been in this industry for I don't even know how long, but like people are like, well, you should come do a talk about what? So like I could talk about anything ad nauseum, but you want me to focus on one I don't even know where to even start on that. So some kudos coming out to you from anonymous attendee. Thanks in advance. How do you recommend balancing imposter syndrome versus your actual skill set when trying to apply for new jobs and move forward with career skill wise? From Austin.
The biggest lesson I've learned is the ability to pivot, right? Like Ross. Pivoting was something I wasn't thinking I would do early on, but the moment I pivoted, a week later, I got an offer. And that doesn't mean that I'm not still working on a certificate or upskilling myself in, whatever I want to do. It just means that now I have a foothold. And on my resume, I have 20 years of hospitality. So even though I've got some education and some certs, at the end of the day, I don't have anything that shows I'm in this industry. So pivoting and taking that role, at the very least, has been a resume builder. Now I have something in the industry to show on my resume. And that's really kind of how I balance my skill set versus imposter syndrome is I've got to pivot where I want to go so I can get there a little bit more on the long way, you know? Because I don't have it all right now, but a foot in the door, like I said, is still a foot in the door.
From another anonymous attendee, I've been in IT. I've been in IT for about 11 years and moved up into a CISO role for a small business. Now I'm changing over to a bigger company, but going for a cloud engineer role at the moment. Do you think that this is downshifting, or I can grow back into the same place since it's a big company? I have immersive experience, but not able to validate it enough, honestly. Also, I have a lot of certifications, but then again, I feel like what you said, I'm not validating myself with those who I need to suggest how to go about this. Long thing, but yeah.
Um, here's one thing, and here's one thing that some people that have been in this industry a long time have taught me is just get into a role with a company, because moving up in a company is easy once you're in there doing and showing the work. That's how you prove yourself. That's how you show your validation, is just take that role. Now, I'm not saying, with 11 years experience, you go take a help desk role, right? But if you have to take a lateral move, or maybe a simply just small back pedal for a moment, your skill set and your ability to do the work will show up quickly, and that company will notice, and you'll be advancing in no time. And that's the one thing that I've learned is, as long as you get in somewhere and you start doing the work and you start showing progress, the advancement is easy to come by.
1,000% agree. Yeah, it's going to be hard to contain yourself when you already got that skill set. Being able just to be like sit back and be like, no, we can do this. We can do this. We can do this A, B, C, and D, and your skill set's going to shine through. It's going to take a couple months maybe, but it'll be there. So let's see. Question from Ched, Wiggins. How many times did Jack go through ghosting while searching? What?
Get ghosted?
Get ghosted. Sorry, I read that wrong. Thank you. General thoughts on the ickiness of commonplace ghosting, fake job posts, etc.
I've been ghosted a few times. And there are a lot of fake ones out there. You get a bunch of messages on LinkedIn saying, hey, I see what you're doing. Apply for this job over here. We'd love to have you, or whatever. Well, it's fake, or it's some, you pay seminar, or here's a class you can take, which wasn't what I was looking for. I wish it weren't that way. Because it's just sharks in the water. But again, that's kind of part of that journey, right? You kind of have to wade through the poop to get back on land. And so that's kind of what it is. And I see there was right above that, the question about being burnt out, which kind of goes in that same line. I didn't keep myself from being burnt out. I've burned out a few times so far. A week will go by and I'm like, okay, I didn't apply for anything this week because I just got so many no's, and I didn't want to sit down and get more no's. But then I double down, redo the resume, get some cover letters, and go about it all over again. Burnout's real. It's not something I don't think you can avoid. It's just something you have to learn to deal with, step back, take a breath, and move forward again. It's like working out, right? Like you can't work out for 10 hours straight. You can't do legs every day of the week, but you do them till you're burned out. You step back, take a breath, and then get back at it again when you can. And that's kind of my best advice for the burnout in this is you just have to keep on going.
For sure. That's solid advice, man. Love that.
It said, what warning signs indicate that you should move on to a new organization to prevent burnout or being boxed into a job that you're not skilled at?
I will say that hospitality and cyber have a lot in common, and that burnout is kind of one of them. Whether it's hospitality or cyber, when you're with an organization and you're doing the work and you're going above and beyond and you're taking on more responsibility and you're not getting rewarded or acknowledged or shown appreciation for that, and they just expect you to do it at some point, that's when I would say it's time to walk, right? Like if you're in an organization and you're doing the work and you're putting, but you're advancing them because of what you're giving, 9 times out of 10, hopefully, they should look at you and go, thank you for what you're doing. Let's do this with you instead. Hey, where are you trying to move to? What are you trying to grow into? Okay, well, let's make a plan because you're valued and we love what you do for us. If that's not coming from your organization, if you're just being asked to do more and more and more, but not getting anything out of it, I think at some point, that's just time to walk away and find an organization that appreciates that. Because I'll tell you this, that organization that doesn't appreciate it won't be around much longer. Most of them won't sustain or last if they can't hold a good staff, if they can't hold people that love what they do and do it well.
Exactly. There's one comment in here from an anonymous attendee. How do you build a network from scratch, especially when you're not in the U.S. or not really here near anyone? And anonymous, I wish I can call you out by name, but you're doing the right thing. You're in here. You're a part of the community here. You've heard about Simply Cyber. Get over there in that community. I mean, just be part of other like-minded folks. Get in there to their Discord channels. Follow them on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to start your network, good sir or ma'am, whoever you may be.
I think my biggest thing is really just trying to find those people in the roles that I want and following them, commenting on what they post online. If they're posting something, follow that link, learn about it, and then try to start a conversation. And that's how you build that network. You can just go on and click connect to however many people you want. But if you're not engaged, it doesn't matter. So it's really the engagement, whether it's 2 people or 10 people you have, that will snowball into a full-on network.
And I would definitely say, especially from the LinkedIn aspect of things, make sure you have it updated because, I know everybody in here gets flooded with at least 30 people trying to connect with them every day on LinkedIn. And literally, I'll look at what your first line in the invitation says, like what your job skill is. And if you're not in IT or cyber or something adjacent to it, I'm just moving on, right? I'm just not dealing with it. So I know there's some Simply Cyber classes. There's definitely Black Hills classes and things like that. So definitely update your stuff and just don't spam people. But yeah, I mean, you're out here, you're doing it. Keep it up.
Well, thank you, Jack. Appreciate you being here with us, sharing your experience with us and your time with us.